The other woman gave birth to a child, and is pregnant with a second, and my husband wants me to be magnanimous. I threw a parting shot, then turned, and married Alexander, he cried, begging me on his knees to come back. I had barely walked 2 steps after hanging up the phone when Amber suddenly knelt, tightly clutching my legs. Grace, I don't want anything. I'll be satisfied just to be with Marcus and the children. Please, I beg you, don't make me leave. She stroked her belly, tears streaming down her face. The child in my belly is innocent. I won't compete with you for anything, please. Marcus scooped Amber off the floor, holding her close, his gaze fixed on me, rigid and cold. Amber endured the pain of childbirth for me. I can't give her an official title, so I can only compensate her with a wedding. The wedding is set for the day of the child's first birthday celebration. My pupils constricted, and the color drained from my face. My lips trembled, unable to utter a sound. Eleanor, holding her grandson, beamed, but seeing the tense atmosphere, she quickly interjected. All right, Amber has another child on the way. Don't make such a scene. After all, Amber has secured an heir for our family. She's a great contributor. The wedding is just for appearances. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't worry, Grace's position will always be yours. I stared, incredulous. How dare you? Marcus, have you forgotten the wedding vows you made? You said you'd only love me in this life. Yet now, for this woman of questionable character, you repeatedly challenge my limits. What do you take me for? He scowled. Amber is not a woman of questionable character. I'm simply informing you that this wedding will happen, whether you agree or not. I dug my nails into my palms, feeling only a tearing pain in my chest. Looking at the man before me, he seemed like a complete stranger for the first time. Amber suddenly grasped my hand, a triumphant smile on her face. Grace, don't be angry. Marcus just pities me. Please don't let me affect your relationship. Oh, Grace, your heirloom bracelet is so beautiful. Can I borrow it to add some sparkle to the wedding? This bracelet was the only memento my mother left me. I never took it off. Seeing my silence, Amber released my hand and feigned a wronged expression. Please forgive me, Grace. I came from a small rural town, and haven't seen much of the world. It's my first time seeing such an exquisite bracelet. Never mind. I'm not worthy of it anyway. Marcus' face showed difficulty. After much hesitation, he spoke, his tone softening. I was careless. I didn't prepare any wedding jewelry for Amber. Just lend it to her. She'll return it after the wedding. I scoffed lightly. Marcus, you are now making decisions about my things. Marcus' face turned ashen. He clamped down on my wrist, gritting his teeth as he commanded, "It's just a bracelet. I'll buy you 20 tomorrow." I struggled desperately, suppressing the surging anger within me. I took off the heirloom bracelet and curled my lips into a smile. "If you like it so much, take it." The moment Amber reached out, I suddenly let go. With a crack, the heirloom bracelet shattered. In the crisp sound of the break, 5 years of loving devotion turned into scattered fragments on the floor. Amidst the chaos, Amber picked up a shard from the ground and deliberately cut the child's arm. The child in Eleanor's arms wailed in pain. Amber pointed to the wound, crying and accusing, "Grace, are you so intolerant of me and the child? You can vent all your anger on me, but why hurt my child?" Marcus, who had initially looked apologetic, instantly blazed with fury. He roared at me, "Grace, after all these years of marriage, I never thought you'd be so vicious, to harm an innocent child. From today onwards, you are not allowed to step out of this room." No sooner had he spoken than bodyguards escorted me out of the hospital and confined me to my room. I tugged at the corners of my mouth, bitterness spreading through my heart. The next day, Marcus, uncharacteristically, bought my favorite strawberry cake. He took my hand and said in a humble, pleading tone, "Grace, I was too emotional yesterday. I shouldn't have yelled at you. But the child was hurt, and I couldn't ignore it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to explain it to my parents. You understand me, right? Amber is generous. You have experience with this. If you help Amber choose her wedding dress, it will count as an apology, and what happened with the child's injury will be behind us, okay? Turns out, his efforts to appease me were solely to give his beloved a respectable wedding. I coldly pulled my hand away. No, he froze instantly. Before, he wouldn't have to say anything, a slight frown from him, and I would immediately apologize and try to make him happy. But now, my expression remained cold and unyielding. His face darkened instantly, and his voice turned chillingly cold. "You are going whether you want to or not." He forcibly dragged me to the bridal boutique. The moment we entered, Amber, dressed in a wedding gown, swayed her hips as she walked toward me. "I never thought Grace would come. Only could persuade you. With here, you'll surely help me pick the most suitable wedding dress." She curled her lips, then took Marcus' hand and headed to the fitting room. "I can't reach the zipper. Marcus, darling, could you help me?" He glanced at me, but I didn't return his gaze. He scoffed, then wrapped an arm around Amber's waist, and angrily entered the fitting room. Soon, faint moans came from the fitting room. I peered through the half-open door, and saw two bodies entangled. "You little minx, stop teasing. My wife is still out here." Amber pouted. "You promised me that you'd repay my life-saving kindness with your own body. Besides, my parents died because of you. You can't go back on your word. Don't you love the thrill? The door's locked, Grace can't see." "All right, whatever you want." He swallowed, then kissed her collarbone with feverish intensity. Amber, peeking through the door, curled a triumphant smile and gave me a peace sign. So, this was Amber's real reason for wanting me to come to the bridal boutique. To brazenly have an affair right in front of me. A wave of nausea, coupled with a chill creeping up my spine, made me tremble. I sent the recorded evidence to my lawyer. I turned around, my gaze falling on Marcus' phone on the sofa. I picked it up, and unlocked it with ease. He did have a secondary account. As soon as I switched to it, a chat group named The Circle group name instantly popped up. I scrolled up through the chat history, which was filled with Marcus' friends praising him. Marcus is truly amazing. One at home, one outside, and he manages to keep them peaceful. A master of managing wives, teach us your ways. If I could juggle 2 women at once, I'd be ecstatic. Marcus replied, "I guess I'm just charming. Both women can't live without me. Especially, she's madly in love with me, she'd rip out her heart for me. If I so much as frown, they'll both be on their knees trying to appease me," smirk emoji. Every word cut like a knife through my eyes. The entwined figures in the dressing room pierced 1,000 holes in my heart. Fighting back tears, I slipped the pre-prepared divorce papers into the wedding planning proposal. 10 minutes later, he came out, his clothes tidied, his eyes darting away. I opened to the signature page, and handed him a pen. "This is the wedding planning contract. Sign it." He looked at me in surprise, then signed it without a second thought. "Grace, you've become so sensible." I said blandly, "The wedding dress is nice. I won't bother you anymore." Marcus tried to reach out and grab me, but Amber's call instantly made him retract his hand, and he turned and re-entered the fitting room. I pulled a bitter smile, put the divorce papers away, and returned home. I packed my luggage and booked a flight to Portside City for 3 days later. Not long after, Marcus kicked open my door, his neck flushed red. He snatched a vase nearby and hurled it at me. "Grace, how could you be so vicious? You not only sent Amber and the child death threats, but also filmed Amber and posted it online, slandering her as the other woman." My fingers touched the blood on my forehead. The stinging pain made me gasp. It was another one of Amber's schemes. I scoffed coldly, "Isn't Amber the other woman?" He froze, instantly speechless. His eyes flickered, his voice tight. "You must attend the wedding and the first birthday celebration, and apologize to Amber. Otherwise, what will people think of Amber, and how will the child live his life normally in the future? And also, let the child be added to the family records under your name. After all, this womb of mine can't bear children." He stared at my belly, maliciously poking at my sore spot, his tone filled with disdain. With that, he left without looking back. My pupils constricted, and my breathing hitched for a moment. 5 years ago, in that big fire, I shielded him with my body, but a falling beam struck my abdomen, making it impossible for me to conceive again. He once cupped my face and said, "It's even better without children, I can pamper you like a little girl forever." When his family threatened to disown him, he knelt in the family estate, saying he'd rather have no heirs than abandon me. Now, this sacrifice had become the very knife he used to stab me. If that's the case, I'll grant their wish. On the day of the wedding and the first birthday celebration, they held a traditional family ceremony. As the ceremony reached the unity candle lighting ritual, Amber deliberately kicked over the brazier, sending burning coals flying straight at me. A piercing burning pain shot through my calf, and my skin immediately charred and peeled back. Within seconds, the entire wedding venue was engulfed in raging flames. I instinctively looked at Marcus, but saw him holding the child, his fingers interlocked with Amber's. He gave me a deep look, then unhesitatingly rushed out of the fire with Amber and the child, leaving me to be trampled by the crowd in the chaos. The crisp sound of my ribs breaking was drowned out by the screams. Smoke filled my throat, like burning cotton stuffed inside. My vision blurred. I thought I saw him desperately trying to rush back into the fire, but wrapped her arms around him from behind, her voice trembling. "Marcus, don't go, I'm scared. Let go. Grace is still in there." Marcus struggled desperately to break free. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying in a hospital room, my leg bandaged. Marcus, his eyes red-rimmed, tightly held my hand, his face filled with guilt. "Grace, you are finally awake. Do you know you nearly scared me to death? I thought I'd lost you forever." I flung his hand away, a look of disgust on my face. "Does it hurt much? Wait for me." Marcus, his eyes full of distress, darted off to call a doctor. I couldn't stand to see such a nauseating person anymore. I didn't want to stay in this place for another second. I pulled out the IV drip and limped away. Just as I reached the stairwell, Amber's voice came from behind me. "Stop." I didn't want to engage with her, but she suddenly rushed forward and grabbed me. My gaze swept over the child in her arms, and my voice turned cold. "Amber, let me go." She curled her lips into a sneer, completely dropping her facade. Well, our Mrs. Gu running away like a drowned dog. You want to fight me? You are still too green. Did you see? In the most critical moment, Marcus still chose me and the child. You, a rich young lady, still ended up being trampled underfoot by a woman from a small rural town, like me. Don't pretend to be so noble in front of me. Your high and mighty attitude is truly disgusting. Her eyes suddenly blazed with malicious intent. I am claiming Marcus's wife's position. I lines make sure you live forever in Marcus's hatred. She leaned back with the child in her arms, falling backward down 20 flights of stairs. The child, just 1 year old, began to wail, and blood gushed from beneath her, spreading into a shocking red stain on the ground. She touched the blood and shrieked. People in the hospital, coming and going, began to gather around us. Marcus heard the familiar scream and quickly pushed through the crowd, rushing down the stairs to embrace Amber. She sobbed hysterically, trembling all over. The child. Our child is gone. Veins pulsed on Marcus' forehead, his eyes blazing with fury as he glared viciously at me, his fists clenched, knuckles cracking. Grace, are you even human? Amber, despite her injuries, came to see you, to care for you, and how did you treat her? You tried to kill her, and our child. I bit down hard on my lower lip, my nails digging deep into my palms, and roared, "It wasn't me. I didn't even touch her." Eleanor raised her hand and slapped me hard. "You stubborn wench. Still denying it. If my grandchild suffers anything, I won't let you off." After saying that, she continued to curse me maliciously, then frantically picked up her grandson from the ground, and rushed to find a doctor. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up, and take Amber to the doctor." Marcus picked up Amber in his arms, and rushed to the operating room without looking back. Even passers-by cursed me as vicious, saying I'd gone as far as harming a child, and that someone like me deserved to be torn to pieces. But I clearly did nothing. Why do I have to take the blame? Marcus cheated first, and Amber provoked later. Amber was the one who wanted to kill me. I suddenly burst into a fit of hysterical laughter, but as I laughed, it turned into heart-wrenching sobs. I curled up on the ground, trembling. I wiped away my tears and headed to the airport without hesitation. Before stepping onto the plane, Amber's social media post popped up. I will always be his first priority. The picture showed Marcus holding the child in his left arm and feeding her porridge with his right. I liked the post and commented, "Marcus and I are divorced. I wish you two everlasting love and many children." Then I blocked everyone and called a messenger service to send him the divorce papers. A second before I turned off my phone, it vibrated frantically. Marcus tightly clutched the divorce papers, pacing back and forth in the hospital room, repeatedly dialing Grace's number. Fine beads of sweat broke out on his forehead, his throat tightening. "Answer the phone." But the phone on the other end mechanically repeated that the line was busy until it finally went to voicemail. He still wouldn't give up, opening WhatsApp and typing, "What are you doing?" But a striking red exclamation mark popped up in the chat box, stinging his eyes. Before, no matter if it was Grace's fault or not, she would throw a fit for a while, but soon after she would apologize and beg him to forgive her unreasonable tantrums. But now, Grace not only didn't apologize, but also blocked all his contact information, and even threatened him with divorce papers. Recalling the little things from this period, he suddenly realized Grace had changed, ever since she learned Amber was pregnant with a second child. First, she caused a scene, then gradually distanced herself from him, becoming cold. Even when he was intimate with other women, she no longer felt jealous, and finally, she even wished them lasting love. Initially, when he learned she had pushed Amber down the stairs, he felt a flicker of secret delight, proving that she still loved him. But how did it escalate to divorce? Thinking of this, his chest tightened even more, and his breathing grew heavy. Amber keenly picked up on the irritation on his face, and a hint of triumph flashed in her eyes. Grace is throwing a tantrum. She always does, but she'll probably come around in a few days, especially since she's likely worried we'll pursue her for my miscarriage. Marcus frowned, giving her a cold glance. "You don't know Grace. She never used to make such a big fuss. At most, she'd stay at Northwood for a few days, then come back to coax me into forgiving her." Amber looked utterly wronged, gazing up at him with teary eyes, her pale lips trembling as she sobbed softly, "It's all my fault. If I had been more careful, our child wouldn't have been lost. Now, our first child is still in the ICU. If I lose him too, how can I live?" Grace has never had children. She simply doesn't understand that a child's injury is a pain in my heart. I wish I could suffer for the child. Woo woo woo. Seeing her pitiful appearance, the previously anxious Marcus was instantly captivated. His face turned ashen, and he gritted his teeth, saying, "Let her make a scene. If it weren't for her, our second child wouldn't be gone." He hugged her tightly, caressing her, and gently comforted her. "Amber, don't be sad. Once you recover, we can have another child." After comforting Amber, Marcus leaned by the window and lit a cigarette. Although he didn't say it aloud, he was still inwardly hoping for Grace's apology. He was distracted, merely refreshing his phone for messages, not even hearing Amber's cries of pain from the hospital room. It wasn't until a nurse came in to remind him about blood flowing back into the IV that he remembered the pale-faced Amber beside him. He looked apologetic, but explained guiltily, "Amber, I have some company matters to attend to. There will be dedicated medical staff to look after you. Behave." Even though Amber was 100 times unwilling, Marcus grabbed the divorce papers and left without looking back. He stared at the 5 words, divorce, and the irritation in his heart grew stronger. He slammed his hand on the steering wheel and cursed. He floored the accelerator, driving home as fast as possible, desperate to see Grace one more time. Grace. He pushed open the bedroom door, only to find the room completely dark. He searched the entire house but found no trace of Grace, nor any reply. He looked around and realized that all their shared belongings were gone. The photos that used to hang on the wall, the matching personalized apparel in the closet, the handmade figurines they had made together. He roared, about to question the butler about the whereabouts of the items. The butler's face turned pale with fright as he stammered, "Marcus, Grace ordered these to be discarded. But I saw Grace staring blankly at this photo, and I felt it was very important to her, so I took the liberty of keeping it." With that, he handed him a photograph. The photo was from college, a picture of them winning a debate competition. Marcus and Grace were opponents, and he, the reigning champion, ended up losing. Grace was the one who won the award. She held up the trophy, smiling brightly. In that instant, Marcus was captivated by her radiant, sweet smile. After the competition, he mustered his courage to ask for her WhatsApp. Later, after a year of relentless pursuit from Marcus, Grace finally became his girlfriend. For him, Grace gave up the opportunity to study abroad, accompanying him step by step as he built his company. For him, she stayed up all night working on proposals, and drank with clients until she needed a stomach pump, all to secure orders. For him, a young lady from a wealthy family, she cooked and cared for him, day in and day out, for 5 years. For him, she nearly lost her life. He suddenly remembered that Grace had been packing her luggage, after returning from the bridal boutique visit that day. But he hadn't noticed these details at the time. Instead, he had erupted in anger at Grace and stormed out. Ever since Amber appeared, he had slowly ignored Grace's feelings, and even repeatedly challenged her limits and hurt her. Thinking of this, his gaze gradually unfocused, his pupils dilating into vacant black dots. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of the wedding ring sitting on the vanity table. It was the one he had personally placed on Grace's finger. For 5 years of marriage, she cherished it the most, never taking it off. But now, the wedding ring lay silently there. This time, Grace was truly leaving him. He reached out, cupped the ring, and dropped to his knees, his fingers buried deep in his hair, his shoulders trembling violently. His hands suddenly fell limply, and the divorce papers in his grip hit the floor, with the USB drive that had been clipped inside rolling to his feet. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Amber, unhappy with Marcus' departure, furiously overturned the coffee table. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the room. Her eyes bloodshot, she clenched her fists and viciously cursed Grace. She pulled out her phone and roared at the person on the other end, "Find." This time, she must be completely ostracized. Marcus frantically opened his computer, and found only one video on the USB drive it clearly showed him, and Amber entangled during their bridal boutique visit. He dragged the video to the end and saw Amber triumphantly, giving a peace sign. He realized Amber's suspicious behavior. For the first time, his face grim. He called his assistant. "Investigate. Find out everything about Amber." Within half a day, the assistant rushed into the room with a stack of documents, sweat beading on his forehead. "Marcus, I found it." Miss had scouted the location in advance and deliberately arranged for her parents to be in the path of your car, making you think you had run them over. She then risked her life to save you. In truth, her parents were already in the late stages of cancer. She used your guilt and gratitude to extort money from you. The hospital's surveillance footage also shows that Grace didn't touch her at all. She deliberately threw herself down the stairs, and hurting the young master in the hospital, as well as the fire at the wedding, were all done by Miss. Furthermore, we found out that Miss has other questionable men on the side. As the truth was revealed piece by piece, Marcus' eyes became sinister and terrifying, and fury surged within him. "Take the young master for a DNA test immediately." An hour later, Marcus clutched the paternity test report, staring intently at the result, not the biological father. The doctor looked at him puzzled, then printed out a medical report for him. "Marcus, didn't Grace tell you that you actually have low sperm count, and it's very difficult for you to have children in this life?" He staggered back 2 steps, clutching both reports tightly until they crumpled into crumpled paper. As he thought of the pain Grace had endured, guilt and regret instantly washed over him. His eyes became numb. He stumbled back home, and huddled alone in a corner, his figure appearing frail. The door suddenly opened. He looked up in surprise. Grace. When he saw it was Amber, the light in his eyes instantly vanished. She squatted down and took his hand, her voice delicate. "Husband, what's wrong?" Marcus disgustedly flung her hand away. "Don't call me husband." She stared, incredulous. Just that morning at the hospital, they had seemed so affectionate. How could he have changed so suddenly? She looked down and saw all the documents and photos about her on the floor, and her expression stiffened. She pouted, feigning hurt, her eyes darting away nervously. "I can explain all this." He stared at her expressionlessly, his tone cold. Amber, stop pretending. I know everything you've done. Don't try to deceive me anymore. She was teary-eyed, clutching his hand tightly as she explained, no, it is not like that. Those men, they were all my ex-boyfriends. I broke up with them a long time ago, and all this I targeted Grace because I love you. I was afraid she'd steal you away, afraid you'd actually abandon me and the children because of her. Think of the child. Do you want him to grow up without a mother? His eyes turned chillingly cold. He grabbed her wrist and violently flung her onto the floor. You dare to mention the child to me? Look for yourself. He threw the paternity test report onto her face. Pack your things and get out. She lay on the ground, looking wretched. Marcus, are you really being so heartless to me? Don't I have any place in your heart? Were all your kindnesses to me, these past few years, just an act? Marcus suppressed the surging anger in his heart, turning away without speaking. Amber's facade shattered, revealing a grotesque, twisted smile beneath. What? You think you can get Grace back? I'm telling you, it's too late. Just thinking about Grace's agonizing fate fills me with satisfaction. It's great. He rushed over anxiously and choked her. Try touching her again, and I won't hesitate to make you disappear. But she just started laughing maniacally, a vicious smile playing on her lips. His grip gradually tightened. He roared, tell me. What did you do to Grace? Meanwhile, I had already landed in Portside City. Outside the airport, Portside City's top heir, Alexander, was waiting for me in a Rolls-Royce luxury car. As soon as I got in, Alexander handed me a stack of documents. All his assets, and a medical report. His eyes were firm. Grace, I'm clean. I swear I haven't messed around with other women. All those tabloid reports are fake. I hired them to put on a show. Otherwise, my parents wouldn't stop pressuring me to get married. You know I've always loved you. I remember our agreement from 10 years ago. I'll always be here if you come back. The Anti families were close, and Alexander and I were childhood friends. 10 years ago, he made me a promise, if you're still single by 30, I'll marry you. The innocent stirrings of youth made me hesitate. Coupled with sudden family changes, less contact after going to different universities, and Marcus' relentless pursuit, I gradually let go of my feelings for Alexander. Seeing him again, he was still charming and dashing. I curled my lips into a playful smile. Really? Will City's top playboy really stay clean? He pointed to the medical report, whining playfully, if you don't believe me, just look. Or you can personally verify it yourself. My face flushed instantly. But he keenly noticed the fatigue in my eyes, and looked at me with tender concern. Grace, you've lost weight. He hired a Michelin-starred chef for me. But the weather was hot, and I had no appetite. So he spent the entire day in the kitchen, honing his cooking skills, trying every trick to make delicious food, and cheer me up. The stomach problems I'd developed from work actually recovered under Alexander's careful care. One day, just because I got a little wet in the rain, Alexander, fearing I'd catch a cold, personally dried my hair. The bed swayed, and I lost my balance, instinctively grabbing his shirt. He leaned into my fall, and our lips brushed unintentionally. His ear tips turned red, and his Adam's apple bobbed involuntarily. He quickly stood up, stammering, I made you some ginger tea. I'll go get it now. I looked at his shy expression and smiled gently. When he opened the door, he found Catherine and David hiding outside, listening. Mom, Dad, why are you here? Catherine gave him a meaningful glance. When the servant reported it, I didn't believe it, but I never expected it to be true. You are actually serious about a relationship this time. David patted his shoulder, satisfied. You've got a bright future, son. I walked over to them, and greeted them awkwardly. Uncle, Auntie, long time no see. It wasn't until they clearly saw it was me that their eyes widened instantly. I can't believe Alexander's beloved is Grace. Our families used to be so close. It's terrible that your parents passed away so early. Grace, just consider us family, you'll always be our daughter. Alexander quickly interjected, Mom, are you trying to make sure I don't have a wife? Catherine covered her mouth, laughing. Right, it's daughter-in-law. My mouth is too fast, you see. We'll spoil you, our daughter-in-law, like a daughter. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Catherine and David left, fearing they might disturb us. The next day, I wanted to go out and buy gifts for Catherine and David, but as soon as I stepped out, a group of thugs accosted me, cornering me in an alleyway. The blonde thug, his eyes glazed with lust, pressed in on me. "You are Grace. Someone paid for a night with you. Just serve us brothers well, and we'll let you go." I retreated repeatedly, trying to persuade them, "Whatever they paid you, I'll give you double. Let me go." But they just stared at me, eyes gleaming, completely ignoring my words. A dirty hand reached out and tore my dress, a calloused palm rubbing heavily against my face. I tightly closed my eyes, and screamed desperately, "Alexander, help me." Suddenly, howls of pain erupted around me. Alexander's foot was on the face of the blonde thug, his expression sinister and terrifying. Veins bulged beneath the cuff of his suit, every word dripping with menace. "You dare touch my woman. You are asking to die." He immediately took off his jacket and draped it over me, apologizing repeatedly, "Grace, it's all my fault. I should have protected you every step of the way. I'm here now, you are safe. Don't be afraid." I lunged into his arms, clinging tightly to his clothes, refusing to let go, tears instantly streaming down my face with a surge of grievance. His warm chest emitted a pleasant woody scent, which mysteriously soothed my frayed nerves. Alexander stayed by my side all night, worried I was traumatized. Looking at him as he slept slumped by the bed, the love long hidden in my heart began to gradually resurface. The next day, the maid told me someone was outside looking for me. It was Marcus. He looked utterly disheveled, his once defined face now gaunt, cheekbones protruding, and dark shadows beneath his eyes. Before I could speak, he dropped to his knees before me with a thud. "Grace, I'm sorry. I know all the truth now. I was wrong about you, but I was blinded by Amber. As soon as I realized how horribly wrong I was, I came straight to find you. You've always been the one I love in my heart. Everything between Amber and me was a misunderstanding. Grace, please come back to me, okay? Let's start over, okay? This time, I won't make any more mistakes." I scoffed coldly. "Marcus, don't you think you are pathetic right now? Do you truly believe you are faultless? Not only did you betray our relationship, you pretended to have amnesia and lied to me, and you repeatedly hurt me for Amber. You repeatedly concluded that I was the one who hurt them. After 5 years of relationship, you didn't even give me the basic trust I deserved. Marcus, it's too late for your regret now. We're divorced, it's over. The who used to revolve around you died a long time ago." He grabbed my hand and slapped it against his face. "Grace, don't be like this. Hit me, curse me. I'll do anything to let you vent your anger, please." I flung his hand away in disgust. He slapped himself several times, apologizing repeatedly. But no matter how he carried on, I felt nothing inside. I turned and walked back into the house, telling the maid blandly, "There's a crazy man outside. Don't mind him anymore." Marcus knelt outside the mansion gate for a whole week. The maid, unable to stand it, spat at him in disgust. "What kind of trash dares to show their disgraceful face here? Miss was nearly assaulted. If our young master hadn't saved Miss, your other woman would have devoured her alive." Marcus was incredulous. How could that be? His mind went blank for a moment. He suddenly remembered what Amber had said before and rushed back without delay, like a madman. From then on, I never saw him again. When the maid told me this, I was quite puzzled. The maid told me that those thugs were sent by Amber and had already been sent to prison by Alexander. Later, I heard that after Marcus' parents learned the whole truth, their grandson, whom they had doted on, was immediately disgustedly cast aside. They even called to beg for my forgiveness, but eventually, I got annoyed and blocked all of them. Marcus threw Amber and her illegitimate child into a small rural town, ordering people to guard them, forbidden to leave the village from then on. Amber's biggest desire was to enter high society, so Marcus crushed her fantasy. But it didn't matter anymore, nothing about the Gu family concerned me. 6 months later, I accepted Alexander's marriage proposal. Marcus, somehow, got an invitation card and snuck into the banquet. He rushed into the dressing room, grabbed my hand. Grace, hurry and come with me. Alexander is not a good person. He's a playboy and promiscuous man who doesn't deserve you. He's been with countless women over the years, he might even have STDs. I coldly pulled his hand away. He doesn't deserve me, but you do. Marcus, you've got some nerve. His eyes were filled with guilt, and he looked deeply hurt. Grace, Amber has already been punished. She will never appear before you again, nor will she bully you. I truly was wrong. Even if you don't forgive me, I can't just stand by and watch you jump into ruin. I hadn't had time to speak. The next second, Alexander suddenly appeared, wrapping an arm around my waist, his fingertips gently caressing my chin. My wife is so enchanting, she even has some nameless nobody completely smitten. From today onward, you are mine. You can't let any persistent pests cling to you anymore, or your husband will get jealous. He turned his head, a cold glint flashing in his eyes, his voice laced with ice. A wretched cur like him dares to badmouth me in front of my wife. Who let him in? Do you even want your jobs anymore? With that, Marcus was dragged out by the bodyguards. With red-rimmed eyes, Marcus desperately cried out, Grace, don't marry him. I was wrong, I was really wrong, Grace. Until his voice faded completely. Alexander took my hand and led me onto the red carpet. Wife, you look beautiful today. I smiled. Only today. He lightly blew a breath into my ear, whispering, you are beautiful every day, darling. Under the blessings of our family and friends, we became truly married. Later, I heard Marcus had contracted a sexually transmitted disease from Amber and would be on medication for the rest of his life. A year later, I gave birth to boy-girl twins. The boy took my surname, and the girl took Alexander's. He lowered his head and gently kissed my forehead, filled with joy. Grace, I'm so glad I didn't give up. I finally found you. I was also grateful that, after all the twists and turns, fate still led me to the love of my life.